Hello everybody, welcome to the Daily Sip. My name is Oliver and my mission is to make you excited about organic Japanese green tea, and today what we're gonna dive into is why 60 degrees Celsius or 140 Fahrenheit is, in my opinion, the optimal temperature to start. So what I want to dive into is just a little bit evoking why 60 degrees is such a good temperature and why actually this is maybe a good starting point for you to discover from there a little bit the different temperatures of the different teas you enjoy, especially when they're green and from Japan and organic. So what I brought with me today is just my Kyushu, and I also brought with me the Kukicha. So this is a Kukicha, Gyokuro Kukicha, so called also. Other people call it Karigane. Here the farmer, Mr. Sakamoto, he has especially a Karigane and he has especially Kukicha. So this is something what he does, but normally Kukicha or stem tea coming from Gyokuro, so a high grade green tea, is actually called Karigane. But I don't want to go too deep into the tea itself, but I just want to evoke a little bit or kind of explore a little bit the territory of 60 degrees Celsius. So when you're starting off with green tea, and often when I read comments about the topic of green tea or the complications about Japanese green tea, how difficult it is to brew them, is actually that people often, and this is what also the Japanese prefer, is often when you read instruction, they are talking about 80 degrees Celsius or 176 Fahrenheit. My personal opinion is that we in the West, we tend to not like too much everything that is astringent. There are some countries which are quite used to it. For example, in Europe, the Italians are a little bit more used to astringency, so they are quite okay with it. Or let's talk about the general level. I'm sure there are some Italians out there which don't like at all astringency, but it's just a little bit of a kind of more in the culture. But we, for example, myself, Swiss or German or maybe even English, we are tending a little bit less for the astringent flavors. And what is important is that you know that when you want to reduce the astringent flavor in a tea, you should go down with the temperature, and the 80 degrees Celsius or 176 Fahrenheit provokes a little bit of an astringent flavor profile. And the Japanese, for them, or at least the farmers we met, they said in Japan it's quite good when the tea explores a little bit all the different kind of taste varieties of the temperature is really triggering all the taste varieties, including the astringency, because it makes them feel that they are drinking something healthy. And this is also the health aspect is with green tea also in Japan, so it's not something we invented in the West. It's absolutely something that is quite common and quite linked to between green tea and the positive health attributes. And what you actually do is you extract a little bit more the catechins, which are the polyphenols which are liberating your body from free radicals, detoxifying, which can kind of free radicals which can damage your cells. And then it is said that that's why also green tea has a rejuvenating effect and keeping you younger. As I'm 65 years old, you can see it directly with me. No, good. So what is important is, in my opinion, then when you're a little bit exploring and you're a little bit more of the kind of type like, I really don't like the astringency. I generally like the flavor profile of green tea, but I really don't like when the tea is drifting off into the astringency. There are some things you can do. You can buy shaded teas, shade grown teas, which are seeing less the sun. They have less catechins, therefore less astringency, but you play a lot with the temperature, and that's why 6 degrees Celsius is a very good way to just bring out a little bit more the sweetness of the tea and the less of the astringency. The reason that the tea is less astringent is that catechins, they start to enter the water, especially when you have hot water, and theanine, which is more the sweet part of the tea, extracts at a quite low temperature. That's why when you do a cold brewing green tea is often the smoothest and the sweetest tea. And as soon as you're going up, you bring out more the vegetal and also the more the stringency or maybe even citrusy flavor profiles, how they're described as well. So this is also an important point, that you, when you really going lower with the temperature, then you're extracting more theanine and less catechins. So more sweetness, less bitterness. Very simple actually, but this is a very important point in my opinion when we talk about or kind of less astringent tea. So this is a point which you have to consider. And another very positive aspect actually of the green tea is when you brew it at low temperature, you extract less caffeine. So we talk about up to 60. So when you're going and you brew your tea, 2 minutes, 80 degrees, there were studies done that you can kind of extract to 85 to even 90% of the caffeine content in the tea. And when you go down with the temperature, so around 60 degrees, then you're only between 60-65% of the caffeine. So actually you're also lowering the caffeine content, and this is especially for people who are already a little bit sensitive or who are sensitive to caffeine. Then you definitely should go for a lower temperature if you want to extract a little bit less of the caffeine and still be able to enjoy strong or highly caffeinated teas. I just did recently a video about when you use the room temperature water, that you have this effect even stronger, so you have even less caffeine. And what is also nice, that through the extraction of theanine, so of these amino acids, you also have more of a calming effect. So it counters even more the effect of the caffeine. That's why lower temperature is also in this aspect very, very nice. And what is also my personal experience when we look at lower temperature tea brewing is actually that you have, well, I'm just using here this Kukicha. I just want to brew it now, so I just maybe show you. So this is a mix of stems and leaves. Already stem leaf mix is a lower caffeinated tea, great for the evening, as we have now evening time. I use around, I would say 6 to 7 grams is this. 5 is also more than enough. 6 degrees Celsius water. And what I personally like is about the 60 degrees is often the 70 or 80 degree water. So when we talk about 150 to 175 Fahrenheit, there for me, or kind of for my taste, the water is often too hot to explore really the full taste range. So when the water is hot, I personally enjoy less facets of the tea, and I feel that when we're going into a low temperature brewing, that you have much more this exploration of the broader facets, of the wider facets of the tea. So this is also for me personally a very, very important point why I like to brew tea still hot in the kind of touching my taste buds, and I'm reeling the warmth in my palate, but not having a really strong hot tea which I just have to sip little by little. But that's very, very personal for me. Maybe you really like when it's quite hot and you have to take it in small sips, but I personally am a big fan of 6 degree brewing, as the water is so low that you can take bigger sips or smaller sips depending how you want to drink the tea. And I like a little bit this kind of freedom which 60 degrees water gives me. Good. Voila. So let's go. So let's just maybe enjoy this one here. 60 degrees. That's a Kukicha. You can see it's becoming quite golden. So the golden color is typical for stem teas. Stem teas are showing much more of this golden color, while Gyokuro has a little bit more of a jade green. And I can really take big sips, but still have a very nice warmth entering my body. That's why 6 degrees, in my opinion, is a very good temperature. So this is a little bit just a brief review why I personally like 60 degrees Celsius water, 140 Fahrenheit. So this is actually the temperature. I suggest just when you're starting out with green tea, and then you can play around a little bit and see really what you like. There are also some days maybe you like a little bit more the stringency, you like a little bit more the freshness of the tea, and then you definitely can go up with the temperature, or you can even go lower. For example, Mr. Sakamoto, who is the farmer of this tea, he likes to brew tea at a quite low temperature, especially pushing the umami flavor, so a little bit the savory taste profile, which is then triggered by the amino acids, which, as I told you before, are extracted better at a lower temperature water. So, good. This was this daily sip. Not a real tasting today, but it's a nice hint of this a little bit haze flavor with a lot of sweetness. So I'm able to trigger a little bit like the savory sweet side, and this is actually what I personally like a lot, that you're really able to kind of look for this more savory, a little bit more sweeter parts, even though when the tea is quite mineral rich, like the Kukicha, has a little bit this late summer grass mood already in the beginning through the stems, but you can really search a little bit out this sweetness, and this is counterbalancing a little bit this grassy and a little bit more haze flavor profile. That's why here 6 degrees, my absolute favorite. Good. So thanks a lot for watching. I will continue to enjoy this tea, and if you want ever to cover if you want me to cover a topic, please feel free to shoot me your question, even in the comments, mail at info@neo.ch, or you just write me a message on Instagram, or even on Facebook is also very easy to reach me. So happy to answer you any question if you have ever anything. So feel free to get in touch. And until, I would say, tomorrow, see you and bye-bye.